Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I am going to tell you about this Honda Pilot. I've owned it for 14 years, put on 187,000 miles on it, and I'm going to answer two questions today. Number one, what did I think of this Honda Pilot? Should you buy one? Maybe you're looking for a used one. Secondly, how to make this Honda Pilot last forever. So the Hondas, if you know Hondas at all, they're a little bit different than other makes of vehicles. And also there's a couple tricks to this one to really make sure we understand. All right, guys, so let's dive right in. First of all, this has been an awesome 2007 Honda Pilot. Two-wheel drive, which suited us well. We don't go to the snow. We don't go in the mud all that much. So that worked fine for us. If I did it again, I think I'd still go with the two-wheel drive. We bought this brand new. One of the downsides of this vehicle is it's pretty heavy, considering it's sort of a medium-size SUV, if you will. So it gets somewhere in the ballpark of about 20 miles to the gallon. And of course, that's not great. But at the same time, it really drives well. I mean, it really does. The transmission, when you step on the gas, it's smooth. You basically don't even notice the transmission. And I own several Toyota vehicles that have very, very durable transmissions, but you definitely feel them shifting. I do not feel that with the Honda, or at least not this Honda Pilot. So again, 187, somewhere in that ballpark. And you can see it's obviously a dated vehicle, 2007. Right now it's 2021. But it really did a beautiful job for our family. But here's what I really want to dive into. If I was going to, we have 3 kids. If I was going to buy one of these for my son, that's basically the reason I'm making this video. And also I did all my own maintenance on this, and I will tell you what I did right. I did a lot right. And I'll also tell you one big mistake that I made and how I would do that again. So would I buy this vehicle for my own child? I would. I mean, you can see right here, we're putting Michelin tires on it. Did not cut any corners with this vehicle. Basically bought it with the intentions of making it last 15 years and maybe even more than that. And that's basically exactly what we did. So with Hondas, it's extremely important that you use Honda fluids. So when we're talking about like the transmission fluid is a huge one. You absolutely must use that transmission fluid. So in fact, in the description down in the bottom of this video, I'll go ahead and put links to some of those different products. But even like power steering, you need to use the Honda product. And don't try to play games with going to like an auto parts store and they say, oh, this one will work, you know, it does this. No, don't do it. And if that means you got to go to the dealer and pay a little bit more, it's not that much more. Go to the dealer, do it. And again, you can buy them online. Check out the links down below and it's fine. But that is the number one secret to doing your maintenance, is that not only do you have to do it on a regular basis, but also you have to use Honda products when you're changing out the fluids. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about like the oil, but I used Mobil 1 myself. I thought that Mobil 1, it's much more expensive than some of the other motor oils, but again, we were going for longevity on this vehicle, and I think that made sense for us. But I also changed out the transmission fluid, and I would do a drop and fill, drop out the take out the plug, drop out, I think it was about 3.5 quarts. In fact, I think I have another video on here where I show how to do that. And I would put back in those 3 quarts, and then I would drive it around for 10 miles and just do that a few different times. So like 3 different times of that to change out that fluid. And I would do that about every 30,000 miles or so. And that made the transmission absolutely work perfect. The power steering, and you know what? I want to say the power steering fluid, definitely use Honda. On the brake fluid, definitely use Honda. You absolutely must. Don't take corners on that. And another one that some people don't know is the coolant. You need to use the Honda product. Don't make this mistake. One of my friends just did this, and I'm like, you don't know what you're doing. And when you're going to change out the coolant, you absolutely must use Honda products. So either go to the dealer where they are going to put those in, or it makes a lot more sense to me at least, just to do it on my own, but make sure I take the time to get those Honda fluids. So if you do your maintenance and you do it on a regular basis, being very careful to use the Honda fluids, this vehicle, in my opinion, will last forever. Now, let me give you one more tip here to make it last forever, which was a huge problem in this vehicle. So I broke the timing belt in this vehicle. And I'll tell you a little story about that. And that is the number one flaw. And at first, I didn't think I made a mistake. I did, though. At first, I didn't think I made a mistake, and I was kind of just blaming it on bad luck. But I actually think that I did make a mistake, and here's why. So if you listen to Scotty Kilmer and a couple of these other guys who are real auto guys, they'll tell you, make sure you're using Honda products and Toyota products and whatever. Like, don't buy the aftermarket on certain things. So the timing belt, I changed this vehicle, the timing belt, the first belt from the factory, I kept it on there until 105,000 miles, which is a little bit long, by the way. I think it should be done before then. But anyway, I did it on 105, and I took it to a reputable shop. Everyone's telling me they do great stuff. They changed out the timing belt. There was no discussion on what kind of timing belt. And I was clueless at the time to think that there was different kinds of timing belts as far as the quality goes, is what I'm talking about. And looking back, that was a huge mistake. So if you're going to buy this vehicle, and if you need to check the timing belt on this and know when it was serviced and when it was done, and hopefully what kind of timing belt, you need to go get the actual Honda timing belt. And yes, you're going to pay more for it, but if you get the Honda timing belt, the chances of it breaking prematurely are going to be much, much less. So I bought an aftermarket one, it turns out they put in, and that aftermarket one went 66,000 miles and it broke. And then here's the double doozy on this one. This is an interference engine. What does that mean? That means that the valves and the pistons will hit each other if the timing is off. And the timing will be off if that belt breaks, or sometimes it doesn't even have to really break so much as just sort of some of the teeth get knocked out and then it just slips a little bit. So if that timing belt slips, breaks, something along those lines, and now all of a sudden you've got an interference engine, meaning that you've got pretty serious, relatively serious engine damage. And that's what happened to me. It cost me $5,000 to get this engine fixed. So heartbreaker. After all that work, all that maintenance, I made sure this thing was really kept well. You can see the condition here. And this is these are up-to-date pictures. And after all that hard work, I was so bummed on that timing belt. So would I buy, let's wrap it up here. Would I buy this vehicle again if I could? I would. I definitely would. And if I had a child that needed a vehicle, they're going away to college or something like that, I would buy this vehicle for sure. This is a first generation Pilot. That's the only one I can really speak to. We've owned it 14 years, but it looks to me like the research shows that, Hondas and Toyotas are very, very reliable vehicles. Here's my opinion though. I feel like Honda is slipping in a very big way, and here's why. Toyota, on their engines, if they're interference engines, they're being smart about putting timing chains on their vehicles. If you get a timing chain, that chain, it's lubricated with oil, it's inside the engine. The chain should last the life of the vehicle. We're talking about 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 miles, whatever. A belt is not going to do that. So Toyota has gone away from the belts on the majority of their vehicles. Honda, the majority of the Honda motors are belts with interference engines, and that is the perfect storm. You're just asking for trouble here. That's the timing belt cover that you're looking at right now, by the way, when I was trying to self-diagnose what the problem was. I didn't actually fix the timing belt on my own, but I did tear it down enough to see what the problem was, right? I was just driving along, all of a sudden the vehicle lost power, trying to figure out what was going on here. So I've done all of the basic maintenance on this thing, but I'm not going to go in and try to do a timing belt, especially after I've already caused damage, right? So having to replace the valves and do all that kind of stuff, nope, I wasn't going to do that. But you can see these pictures from the oil changes. And the other thing is that, because this is a little bit older of a vehicle, the transmission fluid, this is such a big thing. It really is. But this has a dipstick on it. My newer vehicles, I've got a Toyota Sequoia and a Tundra. You can't even check the transmission fluid on them. It's absolutely ridiculous to me. So on this vehicle right here, you can check the transmission fluid level. You can see what it looks like. You can smell it. Does it look old? Is it burnt? And that's a huge thing. So if I could buy this vehicle again, this is it. I think it's an absolute great vehicle. We have 5 people in our family and a dog. The only thing I would say is we're kind of pack rats. So like when we would go on vacation and have the 5 of us and the dog, that was and we also were kind of outdoors people, so we'd be putting everything from bikes to paddle boards to whatever. So it could feel like a little bit of a small vehicle especially when we were going on trips or trying to like really load it up with a lot of stuff and include the dog. Hey friends, I hope this video helped you out. And if you're in the market for a Honda Pilot, hey, my advice is get it checked out by a mechanic. Don't forget that. Do the maintenance, use those Honda fluids when you do all that maintenance and all that good stuff. Double check that timing belt. Find out what kind of timing belt it has. Does it have a true Honda timing belt? If it does, hey, that's a huge plus. And all right, if this video helped you out, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.